We got Nikki on the other end over here. This is City Talk Fall River. How's everyone doing out there? All three people that are listening.
Hi, three people that are listening.
City Talk Fall River is brand new. We're going to be doing this every Thursday and every Friday, 9 o'clock in the morning. We're going to be talking about anything that you want to talk about. This is a free speech page and the free speech radio show, just like the free speech page out there. So while we're doing our talk, you can call in, talk about whatever you want. One of the biggest things that we've been talking about before the radio show even started was, what a crazy year 2014 has been, and how it's like we're kind of just like sitting back and reflecting on it. You know what I mean? It's from like 8 months ago when we all started going out there and saying, we want to make a change, we want to make something different in this city, we want something better in this city. We kind of got together and did it and accomplished it, and now we're starting to see some of that accomplishment now. We're starting to see some of the cleaning house that's going on in City Hall right now, which is putting a lot of smiles on people's faces. Look,
sure is.
Nikki's smiling right now. She can't even stop smiling. I think Kadim's been smiling for the past 2 days now as well. So
a lot of people smiling.
What do you think of what's been going on as far as that goes?
What part of it?
Well,
every part of it is exciting.
I guess we could start from the top. I mean, we got all these different mishaps happen 2014, and probably even before that. You're talking about Coogan, with Will Flanagan hiring the wrong person to even be,
creating positions, full-time positions out of part-time positions.
Exactly. Firing people off the school, off the Diamond School Committee. I mean, he did a lot of different things that turned a lot of people's heads. We had somebody quit. What's his name? What was that guy's name? Like he just stepped down. He was arrested for like embezzlement at one point in time. And then,
Perry.
Yeah,
Perry Long. Perry Long.
Yeah. Just hire that guy back on.
Yeah.
Because I'm the mayor and I'm just gonna hire whoever the hell I want.
Mm-hmm.
I just think there was just a lot of like, I'm gonna get away with this. I'm just gonna do it.
Nobody was paying attention.
Yeah. Apathy.
Yeah. That's the biggest part of it, is nobody was paying attention.
And then 11,000 people decided to pay attention.
I'll admit, I wasn't paying attention. I didn't really know half of what was going on until threw up in Fall River.
You didn't know Perry Long from a footlong at this point.
Heard his name before, but not knowing everything that happened in Westport, just little bits here and there.
And then you look at this, you say, all right, Will Flanagan, young, probably not as, I wouldn't say good looking, but young, and coming from from law school and hot shot, this, that, and the other. Oh, I grew up in Fall River. I worked at Stop and Shop. I went to public schools,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone's like, oh wow, we need this young fresh kid. And then he goes and he does things like hire Perry Long. And then you look up Perry Long on the internet and you say, oh, this guy got in trouble for embezzlement or whatever it is that he got in trouble for. And then you go, next thing he's going to hire.
He paid the money back, though. He paid the money back.
Oh, good for him.
Supposedly, he paid the money back.
if I steal from Stop and Shop, and I say, hey, I'll put the milk back because I'm stealing milk for Stop and Shop for some reason, they're gonna still take me in.
Mm-hmm.
So if
and
this person steals thousands of dollars from a city, you can't just put it back. But this guy, not only did he put it back, he got hired to, he got a nice little cushy job somewhere. And then you read in the newspaper when he stepped down, you read that he helped Flanagan on his campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Nice.
Seems to be a lot of that going around.
Then you look at Coogan, right? And then you see Coogan, and he steps up. Next thing you know, he's the chief of police. Why? Chief of the fire department. Why? Because he helped, form that.
And he stepped over many other people for
like
that
4
position.
or 5 different people that were ahead of him. And now one of them is in Braintree. The person who was supposed to be Ford, I think his last name was, he was supposed to be in the next in line. He ended up going to Braintree. And I actually just posted this last week about how Braintree was doing pretty well with their fire department.
Yeah, he's doing very good from what I understand.
He's doing really well. And if I'm not mistaken, there was an 85-year-old woman that got rescued out in Braintree about maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it was in the news. It was in the Boston.com news. Right. So it's pretty
Nice.
It's pretty good stuff. We got that. We got what? What else we got going on with Flanagan? Are we all done with Flanagan?
There's many
Somebody tried to
things.
break in his car.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
That was awesome.
Not that I condone anybody trying to break into anybody's vehicle.
Oversized
However,
scissors.
when it's somebody who claims crime is down in Fall River, there's...
A little coincidence there.
Yeah. I thought it was personal at first.
Well, now crime is up because he's not the mayor anymore. See? That's how it works.
Went fast.
Huh?
It went fast.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was personal, the break-in, the little argument there.
The comment in the paper was, you lost the election, I'm going to kill you.
Now, I want to know if that's coming from the person who did the break-in or if it's coming from Flanagan. Because it just seems a little strange. Yes, it just seems a little strange that somebody would say. I could picture him there with the big scissors. I'm going to cut you because you lost the election.
I'm going to cut you with these big fake scissors. Oh, that's really real, huh?
I don't even know.
I wonder if these
The Herald
papers
News
know
posted a
down.
picture, and I actually tried blowing it up to see if they were like plastic scissors or if
It's
they
on the
were
front
real.
page of the paper.
It looked like a meme. Somebody did on Throw Up
I mean, I'm
mentioned
telling
that
you.
it looked like a meme.
That looked straight from the Facebook page. You know, all those Facebook pages that are out there.
I love that. His smile. He was so happy to hold the scissors.
Exactly.
It'd be interesting to hear from what is it, the person who did the break-in. It'd be interesting to hear what he has to say.
Andrew Back or
Rack.
something like that.
Rack.
Rack. Yeah, that's right. Andrew Rack. Andrew Rack, if you're out there, call in. If I had the phone number, I'd tell you to call in, but my friend Ben Farabini, the guy who runs this radio station, just walked out the door, so I can't even give out my phone number
Right
yet.
there. 774-357-2132.
774-357-2132. Call in. All 3 people out there that are listening.
How can
Call
you tell
in.
who's listening?
I can't tell. I'm just joking.
Oh, you're just saying there's 3. Oh,
cares?
okay. Hopefully
Are
we
you
have
having a good
more
time,
than
Nikki?
3. I am. I always have a good
That's
time.
all that matters at the most, right? We'll figure it out as we go along.
I love my friends.
This is my first time on radio, by the way.
Me too.
So if it sounds a little amateurish, it's based on the fact that I'm an amateur. So we're just gonna keep this going. It's already been 10 minutes.
Nice.
So you got Perry Long, bad hire, nepotism, very likely. You got Coogan, bad move on his part as well, and then you move up to Corporation Counsel.
Ooh, Corporation Counsel.
Corporation Counsel. Now, at first, she wasn't hired right away as the lead. She was just an assistant. In 2012, I think she gets the lead. And then we start to see some issues going on. Sean Kadim and Liz Souza not getting along as well. Now, Sean Kadim already went on, another radio show, another local radio station in this area. And he ended up speaking about how, he wasn't getting along with Liz and Liz Souza, and all this stuff happened, and next thing you know, he's in CCOM, and he's doing well in CCOM.
And he was told that his contract was going to be extended.
And then it didn't.
And then it was not extended.
Meanwhile, Liz gets a raise
Right.
before her contract gets extended.
Not just Liz, her... was her name Allison? Or is it Elizabeth?
No, it wasn't Elizabeth. I know her last name is like Diorno or something like that. Something that sounds like a pizza you put in a microwave. But she did, she was right out of school, they said on Herald News. So this was somebody that didn't have a history, a working history or anything like that, but all of a sudden just warrant a raise before her contract was up. And then you got Liz Souza, who worked with the DA, and she had a history. She had a working history prior to getting that promotion. Still not exactly...
More criminal, though. She was working with criminal cases, right?
Well, if you're a corporation counsel in Fall River, you are going to work with a bunch of criminals anyway, so there you go.
True story.
So anyway, you figure she's going to, do... She has some working history as a lawyer, whatever it is, but I guess he worked under her in time. So, more
He
nepotism
worked
right
under
there.
her.
Oh, yeah, well... Nikki, you want to elaborate on this one? I can sit back and...
Women just like being the boss sometimes.
Women like being the boss sometimes. Everybody
Yes.
remember that. Number is 774-357-2132. Anybody who wants to give us a call and give their perspective as to 2014, all the changes that occurred, and what are you expecting in the future, really? Like, what do you want to see? You know, what do you think Sam Sutter's going to do that's different from Flanagan? I expect that we're not going to see the blatant disrespect to the public the way that Flanagan went out there and did. Now, you know, I want to also, I mean, we got to give it all different perspectives, right? Flanagan did a lot of picture taking for charity events. He put his face on a lot of things.
On everything.
Right.
Things that would have occurred had he been or not been the mayor.
Right. Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Like, he could definitely take pictures with a bunch of kids at the Fall River Falcons all he wants. He doesn't have to be the mayor to do so. I think that, like, he put his face out there because it's every 2 years you have to reelect. Mm-hmm. So you're constantly on a campaign mission. But I think this is just the way that I think. And again, if anyone thinks any differently, call the number 774-357-2132. If anyone thinks any differently from how Flanagan, you know, was supposed to go about his business, feel free to tune in on that, or chime in on that. But the problem is, his work would have been more productive for his reelection. What his decisions that he made. That's the whole reason why we're talking about this right now. Perry Long, D'Souza, all these poor decisions that resulted in poor results. That's what really we were unhappy with. It didn't matter. I didn't care if he took pictures with people. I didn't care if he walked around town with a hard hat on, taking pictures on construction sites. Like,
painting lines in the street.
That's not the reason why this guy got recalled. You know what I mean? And yeah, he might have annoyed people with it. Other people loved it. Mm-hmm. You go on his Facebook page, and you got all these people, like 800 likes on a picture of him with a hard hat on. I'm like, whoa.
You know, I love the support that his supporters have given him.
Loyalty,
that's such a big deal. But when I on several occasions have asked them to please just tell me, why do you support him so much? Give me the reasons. And the only thing that anybody could come up with is he's a nice guy, he's a good guy.
He fixed the parks.
Like, yeah, he fixed the parks.
He didn't even fix the parks.
No, he didn't. The neighborhood association.
Shout out to Pamela LeBeau.
LeBeau, is that what her name is?
I hate that I'm not even getting her name right now.
We should look.
Yeah, okay, go on Facebook.
She definitely deserves
You're allowed
her
to go on
props.
Facebook during my radio show.
Yeah.
Nikki. But yeah, I wanna just let people know that, you know, when you give people credit, they should get the actual credit, not just put your face on something and you get the credit. So you got to give the neighborhood associations a lot of credit to fixing up those parks and to putting that effort into it. Not to mention all the people, the citizens that went out there cleaning up the parks, and not just the people from the recall or anything like that. There was people that had nothing to do with our recall group that were out there picking up trash in the parks and things like that, and setting up things and putting lights, Christmas lights on things. Yeah, we have Pamela Lalibert LeBeau, who is a huge part of that neighborhood association in St. Anne's
and doesn't
area.
Take any credit for it,
no.
might I add.
She's probably mad that I even said her name on Facebook. I'll probably get a text message later, hopefully not too bad.
And I don't know her, but just from her posts, she sticks up for the neighborhood associations more than anybody else in the city,
and
I
she's
think.
the first person to say, you know, yeah, I worked with Will Flanagan. I also supported the recall. It's like, yeah, you can do both. You can actually talk about the good things that Will Flanagan may have done for support, and still say, yeah, but we didn't appreciate Dominion. Yeah, we didn't appreciate all the laid-off firemen. Yeah, we didn't appreciate being told one thing in his campaign, and then literally not standing true to any of his campaign promises. You can still say that. You can say that. Like, it's possible to have a full, wide perspective of what's going on, not just one thing. So.
And it's okay to agree with people on one thing and disagree on others.
You mean that you mean that I can't call you a retard if I
hate
disagree
that word.
with you?
That's such an awful word.
It's the worst. One of the worst words I've ever heard.
It's the worst word
and
ever.
I'm black.
Right? I have a question for you.
Uh-oh. Wait,
Do you prefer to be called? Well, because there was a post. Somebody posted the other day. There was an argument, or somebody was calling somebody else racist. But in her rant, where she was calling somebody else racist, she said, "I'm sure colored people don't want to be called that." And right away, I was like, "Colored?" with a question mark. Like, I would have definitely chosen another word. So I'm asking you.
The United States of America has not really fully figured out what they want to call black people. We've gone through a lot of different names over the years.
Well, because like I heard a lot of famous people, when you say African American, they're like, "Well, I'm not African. I'm Jamaican, so I'm not." Right. I'm not African American. So
if you really think about it, based on science, aren't we all
African
Americans?
Yes, we are.
It is what it is. I think I was born in 1980. When 1980, we were away from the Afro American name, and we started talking, just black. Always black. African American, yeah, because eventually your lineage will go back, even if you're from certain areas like the islands, but. It's all based on what a person feels comfortable being called, and at the end of the day, where I was born, it should be what I am.
Right.
So if I have dark skin, or if I have, if you want to call me a black person or an African American, it's like it's really up to me as to whether or not I'm going to be offended by it. The truth of the matter is, the slave trade kind of muddied up the whole conversation because you got taken out of your origin. And you were forced to be raised in a country that was still being developed, and our whole culture was being developed, and we were in a way, our whole culture is transformed. So you can talk to a person who's from Africa today, and you can talk to me, and you're not gonna we may look the same,
right?
But there's absolutely no cultural things that coincide together. So it's like two different cultures. So really, we're not talking about race. We're talking about culture. So when you say I'm an African American, it's like, not really,
right.
Not culturally.
Right.
I'm a black American because in this country,
you're American.
Different.
Damn it, you're just American.
Yeah, and now we're all going to be Mexican soon anyway. So, and also, the thing with with Barack Obama, you know him, right? You know who that guy is? I do. Yeah. He's the person who ruined America. Yes. No, like, hey, Ben's back. Ben, we figured out what the phone number was because I had no idea.
We found it.
By the way, that phone number is 774-357-2132. But Barack Obama was supposed to ruin the country to the point where we were all supposed to speak Asian at one point.
Right.
And that didn't happen. So it's like we get too extreme. We go too far over the edge.
I hear that.
With our ideals, And if you called me a black person, or even if you said colored, it's up to me. It's up to me and how I respond.
Oh, when I read her say colored, I felt like I was a little kid and my grandmother was talking.
I grew up around white people my entire life. I grew up in Fall River. But I grew up in Fall River my whole life. I've been around white people from the day I was born. I can literally name within my own fingers the black kids that I grew up with. That's how
I
small
can too.
that circle is. So I am going to have a different perspective when you ask me that question than someone who grew up in a predominantly black neighborhood,
right,
or a predominantly black state. It's just you're going to get a different perspective, and that was the point. That's my point as far as how the slave trade back then kind of just changed the entire dynamic of what it is to be a black person in this
planet. It wasn't only African Americans that were thrown into slavery. Native Americans as well were thrown into slavery.
And there were Irish people.
Portuguese, the poor Portuguese people.
Yeah, Asians when they were putting together the train tracks in the country.
In the United States.
People are evil. No, I'm just joking. I can't say that because then
Do I consider myself white even though my family's from Portugal?
I guess that's up to you.
Am I European? Am I white? What makes us white?
I'm not the authority on it.
I always thought about that. I'm lobbed in with so many people.
Stuff.
I'm definitely not the blonde-haired, blue-eyed.
We got Ben Farabini back here. That Farabini tells me he's Italian, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I even got the flag on my arm.
Right.
Woohoo!
He's got the Italian flag on his arm.
Right next to the Portuguese one, too.
The real thing is people are people, right?
Right.
Exactly.
People are people, and everybody wants to throw a label on somebody. You know?
Instead of throwing respect.
Yeah. But I think it comes down to am I going to get offended? Because being offended is your decision.
Mm-hmm.
It's your decision to be offended. The person was trying to make a point. She said colored instead of black instead of African American.
Right.
And do we stop and hit the pause button right in mid-sentence and just forget about her point, which could have been a mind-altering, life-changing, positive point? Or are we going to just focus on this colored part?
And that's exactly what I said, too.
And just get all muddied up with that discussion.
Yeah.
It's like, doesn't that suck?
I said to her, colored with a question mark. Now I said to her, now I know you're not being racist just because you used that word.
Right.
However, and that's what we were trying to explain to her, just because somebody else says something and you interpret it to be that way, other people are not interpreting it the same way.
Absolutely.
That's such a point that I think gets missed, especially online. You don't know somebody's intent through a post.
Right.
You don't know what their intentions are, and one word could totally change the whole entire intent of the post.
Absolutely.
So that was what I was trying to say to her. She deleted the whole conversation.
I was in a conversation last night about the school system, about parents. I have a friend who is a parent to a child who has autism. Okay, and she's not too happy with the conditions of the school down in Henry Lord and how they're handling things. She feels like her son is being bullied and things like that, to that nature. And I wasn't in the conversation with the parent last night. I was in a conversation with somebody about it last night, and we were talking about how people can get offended by the way that the message is delivered. So if you were a parent of a child with that was going through trouble, whether that person was being bullied or whether that person had autism and was being made fun of for whatever reason was going on, right? And you wanted to have a conversation with Meg Mayo Brown about it. For those out there, Meg Mayo Brown is the highest paid government official in Fall River and also the superintendent of the public schools. That one I knew. I didn't know the Perry Long one, but I knew the Meg Mayo Brown one. So if you were to have a conversation with Meg Mayo Brown and you go into this, you're a parent who's emotional, not happy about the condition of her kid. You go into that room and you start saying, Meg, this school system sucks. It's failing us. You suck. You should be fired, blah, blah, blah. I'll use a word from one of my best friends out there, and he knows who I'm talking about. You're a scumbag, and all this and that. You want to say all this and that to that person just because you're angry and you have all this emotion. It gets in the way of being productive.
Absolutely.
It gets in the way of actually saying, look, there's a problem here, we got to fix it. Nah, you suck. You're a scumbag. You're the worst person in the world, blah, blah, blah. If we did that during the recall, Mayor Flanagan'd still be the mayor right now.
That's what the mayor did during the recall, and I'll be honest, that's exactly what got me to pay attention to the recallers more.
When Mayor Flanagan called us anti-Semites?
Bullies and thugs, and all I could think of is, how is somebody a bully for utilizing their rights, for exercising their rights, freedom of speech, the right to vote?
Absolutely.
It blew me away.
If you are out there and you have a problem with somebody, the best way to handle it is to stay cool, calm, and collected. That's the best way to handle any problem. Any of them. And I'm talking any of them. And if you disagree with me, call 774-357-2132. Because I will yell at you and hang up the phone, because that's what we do around here. But truthfully, that is the way to handle it, right? Because now, if I was a parent, I walked in the door and I said, Meg, my kid's getting bullied. This isn't right. I'm just going to sit down and call her Meg, by the way.
That's fine. I call her MMB.
MMB. Nice. So anyway, I go in there and I say, MMB, this is an issue that we got. This is a problem that we have. What are you doing to fix it? Because I'll do my part. What are you going to do?
Exactly.
Boom. That's it. If Flanagan would have sat down with people, if Flanagan would have sat down with the people of the 12 people who signed the recall petition, I'm not naming a single one of you, by the way. But if he sat down with those people in the beginning then I think we would have like had a whole different situation going on.
Absolutely.
But you got to look at the personality of the person that you're talking about, right? This person already went over city council's head to pass pay as you throw program, the bags of the purple color. He went over there heads to do that. Then when people wanted to privatize, he went over city council again,
Yeah.
with the board of health
For the
and
list,
his
to get a list.
corporation council, and went up there and started, going around them for it. Then every time there was something going on, the city council had their backs against the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there are people out there that don't think that city council people can have their backs against the wall. You don't know what you're talking about. That's all I'm saying.
The word shall
There you
is
go.
enough.
That's it. So you had all this going on, and people expected Flanagan to sit down with the people that wanted to recall him
Right.
and have a rational discussion about it. It wasn't going to happen.
Another beer summit.
It wasn't going to happen. But if he did sit down at the table, I don't think that some of the recall group was ready to have a rational discussion with him anyway. I think they would have easily called him a scumbag and, ran him out the door. So it was just a very volatile situation from both ends.
Mm-hmm.
But it was started with all the things that we talked about Flanagan already, about how he made bad decisions, how he made nepotism type decisions, how he unilaterally just ignored everybody's opinion.
And it didn't get better once the recall started. Let's not forget, things occurred after the recall began.
Wait, are you saying that there were incidences that occurred after the recall petitions were signed?
Maybe 22 windows.
Windows,
Windows. You say?
Wait a minute. One would think that he actually threatened the city council with a gun as well.
You would
Allegedly.
think, allegedly. But that's not possible because there was no dashboard.
That is impossible because there was no dashboard. That's right. He didn't have a dashboard, he said to, what's his name? The guy in that show. Well, we can't say. We're not naming names here. But yeah, that's right. He didn't have the dashboard either.
And I have to tell you, when he did say that, I rewound and hit play, just to make sure I was hearing it correctly.
Nothing was better. Nothing in my opinion was better when the guy, the guy that owns the fence company.
Oh, I won't say the name because I can't remember which one because there were two fence companies. So
The
I
guy
don't
that was in
wanna-
the back seat. Supposedly the guy
Tommy
was
Gosselin in the back seat.
Yeah, Gosselin. Oh my goodness. When Tommy Gosselin got on the radio, I'm not going to say the name of the show or the name of the radio station that he was on. However, when Jaziel Correa went up on the radio show and announced it to everybody, and it was wild. The Facebook was wild. Everybody was wild about it. And then Flanagan went up there and he lied. He said all this stuff about he doesn't have a dashboard and all that. And did he say there was no Iron Forever at that time too? No, probably not.
No, that was during
So-
the debate.
So then we end up going to the 5 o'clock show or the 3 to 5 show, whatever it is, on that channel. And it was so much. There was so much gold in that Tommy Gosselin interview.
Mm-hmm.
It was so opposite of what Jaziel said, and opposite of what Flanagan said.
Mm-hmm.
It was all over the place, and he sounded like he was straight from The Sopranos. Like he was like, Farabini, if you want to come in and do the voiceover for me, you can. I'll give you the words to say. But I mean, he was like, these recallers is a tough crowd. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this is the best thing I've ever heard on the radio in my life.
It's dangerous out there.
Oh, it's dangerous out there. It's dangerous out there.
And I have a question. This is my biggest thing. It's so dangerous that the mayor was expressing to our city councilor, Jaziel, how important it was to have a gun for safety.
Yes.
Where was this gun when he was attacked with his life, where his life was threatened recently? The mayor his car got broken into, and supposedly, from what the mayor stated, he was threatened. I'm going to kill you because you lost the election.
I'm going to kill you because you lost the election.
Had I had a gun and I thought it was that imperative to have one for safety, that was his whole thing for Jaziel. I wanted Jaziel to have it for safety. Jaziel was scared when he went home. He was looking in the tub. Do you remember that?
He was
looking under his bed. He was so afraid he was looking under his bed.
Yes.
And yet, nothing was done when the mayor's life, ex-mayor, excuse me, I can't believe I just did that. Flanagan's life was supposedly being threatened by Andrew Rack.
I don't, me personally, ridiculous. The whole thing is ridiculous. as far as the gun thing, as far as all of that thing that went, because it veered the whole conversation away from why we're recalling him into why he should be in jail at this point. And now you're looking at it like he's not even qualified. He wasn't even proven to be qualified to be the mayor just on mayoral decisions.
Right.
But now we're looking at how he solves problems.
Yeah, not so good.
No, and we're looking at how he manages stress. Didn't look so good. It didn't look all that great when even if he wasn't lying about Jay Zeal. If Jay Zeal, we've all had conversations with Jay Zeal. Jay Zeal is not the type of person to go up to somebody and say, "Oh my God, I'm scared.
Right. I'm
looking under my bed. I'm looking behind my showers." Like anyone who had a conversation with Jay Zeal career knows it wasn't like that. However, him being 15 years old right now. How old is he?
Jay Zeal?
I'm joking.
I have no idea.
He's about in his early 20s, right? Someone who, right, something like that, right? So someone who has, this big heart inside of him that wants to do well for everybody. He's involved in the STAR program. He really cares about what's going on. He's involved with economic development. Like, he really wants Fall River to do well, and he wants to be a part of it. And there's nothing wrong with that. He comes into this whole program as a junior city councilor, and he sits in the front seat of Will Flanagan's car, and he's got a city councilor in the back seat, and he's got some goon in the other seat, and he's like, "This is not what I signed up for. This isn't what I got involved with politics for. I want to do better for the city." And you got this idiot over here with a gun telling me I need to protect myself for no reason whatsoever. Then he wants me to lie to the public.
Right. Which is so sad. It's so, so, so sad.
Now, we're not even talking about recalling this person anymore. Now we're talking about what kind of person are you?
Human being.
What kind of human being are you? Seriously, to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, more bad decision making.
Exactly.
More bad decision making by this person. So now we move forward. Now, have I talked about purple bags at all?
A little bit.
Like one sentence?
Just the color.
Right. We're not even talking about purple bags yet. Right?
Oh, but that, for some reason, that's what everybody thinks the whole recall was about. Purple bags.
If it was about purple bags, then how come there were 2 recalls that were already attempted before this one that had nothing to do with bags?
Mm-hmm.
The bags might have gotten everybody on board because it was the catalyst.
Everybody was paying attention.
Right. It got everybody, because it affected everybody's pocket at this point. People, him signing on Perry Long doesn't matter to a lot of people, right? You even said it yourself.
I wasn't aware of what had happened.
Coogan probably mattered to like a little portion of the population, not a big portion of the population. Dominion, $800,000 lost.
How sad
the energy
was that?
Side of things, and then another $115,000
to fight a case
to fight the case with outside counsel. Why are you even hired as a corporation counsel if you're hiring outside counsel to handle all these problems? That's not the only time that they ever had to sign up with outside counsel to handle things, and it's cost the city money. There's been more than one instance for that under Corporation Counsel Sousa. So anyway, all these things are starting to build up. It's starting to accumulate, and then you have literally the straw that broke the camel's back, and that is the bags, and then boom. Now we're in full high gear. Now when I go out to sign a petition, or when I go out to fill out a petition with people at Walmart or Stop and Shop or wherever I was, people are flocking around me. I didn't even have to say anything. All people are just signing it anyway. I'm like, yeah. Oh, is this about Flanagan? Yep. Boom. See ya. And that, the purple bags got people upset. It got the bigger population upset. But people were upset anyway. People who were in the know about Flanagan knew Flanagan was no good for the city. And then when the bags came up, it was like, that's the result of what you get when you get somebody that thinks he can do whatever he wants to do.
I'll tell you, I did my research. Anytime somebody posted something, and I was like, oh, come on, that can't be true. I started my Googling, I started my research. So crazy when you really, there are so many other things that people aren't even aware of. There's corruption that's got to do with the bus company from New Bedford that nobody's even gone anywhere near that.
Right.
There's so much that people just didn't know about. I just think he thought he had big names in his pocket. I think he thought he would get all the votes, and I think that's why he was as arrogant as he was.
It was awful. Well, when we went out and got the petitions, he would be on WSAR, and he would say these people aren't irrelevant. You know, these people, just a
small group.
That got together because they don't like the way I dress. So he was just like
the color of my hair.
Huh?
We don't like the color of his hair.
Don't like the color of his hair. If his hair was purple, it'd be interesting. But anyway, we wanted to make sure that people understood that this wasn't about bags, because if it was, we wouldn't have gotten the signatures we got.
Right.
This wasn't just about bags, and 11,000 people didn't vote against him in the recall election because of bags.
I get chills every time I hear the number.
That's amazing. I was like 10,700.
I was expecting it to be like 5,000 for some reason, and then when we doubled it, it was crazy.
About it. It took us 20 days to get 5,500 signatures, right?
Which is absolutely amazing for everyone who gathered signatures. That's absolutely incredible.
Could not have said it better myself. Absolutely amazing is exactly the word I would say. And that's not amazing because we're amazing. And I'm so great at getting signatures.
Right.
It's more amazing that there was such an involvement, that people were finally tired of dealing with crap. And it kind of got muddied later on in life when like people were getting mad at the Facebook page, and people were getting mad at, whatever people were getting mad at, city council meetings and things like that. But it kind of didn't defeat the purpose. The purpose was that the government was wrong. Our local government was failing the city, and we needed to do something drastic in order to slap it, to pour some cold water on it and say, wake up, like, do better. And I think it got it right. I think they got it right. I don't know if we got the right candidate in Sutter, but we got it. This is the result we got from everybody making a choice and saying, we're not going to deal with what's going on right now. We want to see a change. Now, Sam Sutter, he's been cleaning up the house pretty good. You got rid of Long. What was it, in Dennehy?
I think she was leaving no matter what, though.
That's the word.
Yeah.
But there was also, all right. I went to the Linda Pereira
healing party
thing, and there was a lot of names out there. There were a lot of names there. Word is, and again, this is just word. I'm not saying anything official. Word is, she got the word to get out ASAP once the recall ended.
I almost have the feeling like there's something big coming and none of us are aware of what's going to happen. I almost feel like this is just the drum roll to the big kaboom.
What we have to look at as a strength of Sam Sutter is that he has been in a position of delegation for a while now. The Aaron Hernandez case, right? He didn't just jump in and take the case and say, I'm Sam Sutter and I'm going to do this.
Right.
He delegated it to people he knew were better qualified, better equipped, better experienced at handling this type of case. Now, granted, it doesn't look like the evidence is holding up well in the case, but that's not Sam Sutter's fault. We're not going to hold that against Sam. So he is in a position of delegation, whereas where Flanagan is concerned, he was delegating based on favoritism and based on favors towards him.
Absolutely.
I'm not gonna assume that Sam Sutter's not gonna do a couple of favors for people. I just don't think he's gonna do it to the point where the city's gonna get, burned by it.
Where new jobs will be made and contracts will be signed and raises given before the end of contracts.
Absolutely. Or he's gonna hire unqualified people to do jobs that you need a qualified person for. I think that's the one quality that Sam Sutter brings to the table that I can get behind, personally, is that he knows if somebody's qualified enough to handle this job. I personally don't even know if he's qualified as a whole to be the mayor of Fall River.
Right.
However, I do think that he has qualities that could be helpful, and if he plays to his strengths, he's going to be fine. One of the things he's doing right now is he's surrounding himself with people with experience. I mean, he's got 2 former mayors. He's got school committee people on his team now, his transition team. I mean, he's making an effort.
I think the biggest thing is for him to have everybody has to work together. That was the problem with Flanagan. It was him and him alone making the decisions. If you didn't back me up, I'm just going to go over your head anyway.
Absolutely.
And I'm hopeful that anybody, whether it's Sam Sutter, because let's be honest, we've got another election coming in November of 2015. It's be right around the corner.
Election? We'll probably get like 16 people to vote. Like, people have done with elections now.
No, I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think this is going to be a big thing for the city. Like,
we got 16,000 to get in the special election.
I just think
16,000 people got involved.
we proved how important it is for people to actually vote.
Yep.
Had those people not come out to vote, Flanagan may have won.
Yep.
And that's how I look at it. Like when they were reading the numbers,
There was almost as many people running for mayor that actually voted.
voted. That's great.
Hey, can we talk about some of these candidates?
Sure, we can. Absolutely.
All right, Nikki has
So
done
long as it's not ridiculous.
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 Nikki has done the what's the word? The studying.
Homework.
You've done the homework on one.
Oh,
Paul
Mr.
Anderson?
Anderson. And let me just say, I absolutely, to hear that man talk, he made me laugh during the debates. The things that he was saying when he was like, just listen to what's being said here, pay attention. But when I looked into his background, and I saw videos from his seminary, I believe it's called, the school,
Seminary.
I would have to pull it up, but I believe it was called his seminary, and listened to him speak. I was like, no, we cannot have this man. No, not at all.
So would he have called me colored African American?
Oh, ooh, that's a tough one. It's a tough one. I'm not sure it would have been anything to you. It was more toward the gay and lesbian community.
He wasn't racist. He was just sexist.
He's very
and homophobic.
yes, because it's against their religion. I don't even know what the religion was, to be honest. I think it was
Presbyterian, right?
Ooh, I don't know. It was a new. I want to say it was a new kind.
To
if it
all
was
the
Presbyterian.
11 viewers out there, 11 listeners out there, if any of you are Presbyterian, we're not trying to offend you. We're not trying to. We're not making an attempt to do that.
Not at all. Not
It's
at all.
just that Paul Anderson, when he was running for mayor of Fall River, we had to do our homework on him. I didn't do any homework at all. I just listened to what other people said. That's real journalism right there. But but other people saw his sermons on video, on YouTube, and things like that, and it was a nightmare, is what people called it. And he lost his popularity real quick after that, because a lot of things he was saying was making some sense. We were talking about how we got to get away from career politicians. Politicians don't say the right things. Politicians always are going to tell you what you want to hear, and he was right on that. But then he turned around and, say F those,
yeah.
F the homosexuals. Then it's like, oh well, that's not what I want to hear either.
No,
so
and I
bye.
definitely don't. We definitely don't need that. We've come so far where that's concerned. We don't need to go backwards.
If you have a message of hate at all, from any angle, whether you're for a politician or if you're against politics altogether, if your message is hate and anarchy anarchy and hate are the same thing, but you know what I'm saying.
It is Presbyterian. You were correct.
He is Presbyterian, right?
Presbyterian.
So she just did her research on her phone. But everything from the internet is, legit.
It's not always true. However, you just have to keep doing your research. That's why I said it. Even during the election, that's the most important thing, is for everybody to do their research. Everybody can say what they want to.
Right.
But if you're not, if you're just basing your decision off what other people say, you're not really being a good citizen either.
I had people ask me who should I vote for, and
That's
I said
horrible.
vote for who you want. I liked Mike Mioza. That was the guy I voted for.
Me too.
I think Mike Mioza is a very likable guy. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. If somebody wanted to tell me some inside scoop on Mike Mioza, I wouldn't even be surprised. And that's based on the fact that we're all human.
Mm-hmm.
We're not perfect. We didn't demand perfection from Will Flanagan. We wanted him to just do.
Be honest.
Yeah, right. Do his job. Be honest. Exactly. That didn't happen, and he needed to go. That's the bottom line. He just needed to go.
Mm-hmm.
But Sutter's not going to be perfect. None of the candidates, Kadeen, Dave Dennis, none of them were going to be perfect. We didn't expect perfection out of any of them. They're not saviors.
Lewis Mellum, we have to mention him too.
L.A.
Mellum.
L.A. Mellum. That sounds like a team. Yeah. I just. Yeah, it's basketball. Yeah? Football, soccer. We didn't want perfection from these people. We just wanted people to have good intentions. I don't think Flanagan even had good intentions, man. He was going in their office. He was just putting people who he wanted, who was going to tell him he's doing a great job.
Personally, for me, I want a politician who is going to respect their constituents.
Respect their constituents.
Yes.
Remember that.
Respect goes a long way.
It goes a long way.
I don't have to agree with you for you to respect me or to respect you.
I think if we could get along even through disagreements, we'd be further along as a society altogether. Can you imagine how Congress would be right now if they could disagree but be willing to find a common ground? Woo!
How nice would that be?
Woo. I don't think we've seen that since
Ever?
No, because even the Declaration of Independence wasn't signed by a bunch of people that agreed with everything. Those people still disagreeing with
They
people.
were thugs back then too.
Oh man, boy, I'll tell you. They were thugs on more than one level for me, personally. But it is what it is.
Right.
Because I wasn't even an American at that point. We were 3/5 of a person at that point.
Right.
Imagine that. And I'm Cape Verdean, too.
Are you?
Yeah, half
Nice.
Cape, half black. Yep. I wouldn't even... They would just whoop my ass left and right if I was back then.
As a kid, growing up in Fall River, if somebody was black, that's what they called them, Cape Verdean.
Yeah.
You were
Actually,
Cape Verde.
now I have people... I've had people of Portuguese descent say that I'm not black because I'm Cape Verdean.
Really?
Yeah, it's just a very confusing situation. I don't even listen to them anymore. I'm just doing them up.
Right? I may have Native American in my
If
I've always
people
been
start
told
talking to me
it's all Portuguese.
about race now, I just start doing the Carlton dance in front of them and just
I
walk
love
away.
that.
Huh?
I love the Carlton dance.
Yes. It just brings everyone together.
See,
It's
now I
a
want...
universal... Exactly. Nikki, right now, if we had a camera, she'd be doing the Carlton dance. I'd bust her in it, though. She doesn't even know. She has no idea what's going on right now.
You probably could.
So getting back to Will Flanagan for a minute. Not even Will Flanagan. Let's talk about... Let's forget about Will. What is it? 9:48? We talked about him for about 45 minutes, right?
A little bit.
Hey, this is internet radio. We can say whatever the hell we want right now.
I know, but we're trying to be respectful. And how cool is that we didn't even swear that whole time without realizing it?
Man.
That's pretty
Although
cool.
you did say colored. If you say that on BET, that's a swear.
Oh, it's such a horrible word.
Yep.
It really did when she said it. I was like, oh no, what is she doing?
Colored.
She's like, I don't know what I should say, what I should say. I'm
That's
like,
exactly right. It's confusing to white people as much as it's to black people.
right.
It's
Well,
not
that
even really confusing
but that
to
was
black
my
people. Black people
point.
don't give a shit, but-
She was coming down hard on other people because she misinterpreted something.
Yeah.
So that's what I was trying to express to her. Sweetie, you just used the word colored, and I know that you're not racist, but can you see what I'm trying to explain to you?
So we were talking about people having difference of opinions and figuring out a better way to resolve those problems besides yelling, name calling, calling people whatever they're going to call them and all this
Horrible.
stuff. Call them retarded, call them scumbags, all this kind of stupid stuff that people say. We're moving into the new 2015 year, and it's, unfortunately in Fall River, it's like we have our negatives and we have our positives, right? And one of the biggest things in the news when we transitioned to 2015 was a young kid, in his 20s, Kyle Brady.
God rest his soul.
He was at the Venus de Milo. He was partying it up for New Year's Eve. His girlfriend's ex starts yelling and beefing with him somehow, some way from the Maplewood Park area. Kyle decides to hop in his car with his friends, come on down and see what's going on. Who's talking shit about me, blah, blah, blah. And then the next thing you know, he gets shot. And then we turn around and we have 3 kids involved in this. We have 2 kids from the shooter's side, right?
Yeah.
And a child from
Yep.
the deceased, the
Mhm.
victim. And really, when we talk about victims, the real victims obviously
the
are the
kids.
kids in all this, right?
Yep.
Because we can't resolve our problems.
And let's remember everything now that it's on the internet. So this stuff's not going anywhere. Like if we can Google things from 20 years ago, when these kids get older, they're going to Google their father's
This is
names
gonna
or
hang on
their
their
parents'
heads.
names, and they're going to see everything that everybody posted and
Yeah.
everything that everybody said.
Absolutely.
And that to me is where you have to draw the line before you hit post.
Yeah.
Before you click that button, reread what you're writing.
Yeah.
Reread it and think about it. If I'm somebody else, how am I taking this? You
Yeah.
know, we all have things to say. It's just you got to be respectful when you say them.
The lesson we learned from all this is, people have been talking about positivity and negativity now in the city for a while now. They've been talking about, if we talk about certain things, all of a sudden we're labeled negative. But if we could take any positive out of this tragedy, it's that we can learn from this to resolve our problems better than fighting. It's not even a gun issue. It's not even about that. Because
Right.
even if that kid, what's Jeffrey? Jeffrey?
I believe his last name is Souza.
Yeah, maybe so. Even if that kid didn't even have a gun and they just punched each other into oblivion and walked away from it, I mean, it's obviously it's better than shooting somebody, but is that the way that people should be resolving their problems? I mean, I don't know. Does
I don't
anybody
know.
win out of that?
I think we need to do more with our kids in the city, so we don't get to that point.
Yeah, if we
you know,
set the example for who wear I mean, I don't have any kids, fortunately. Fortunately for those kids that kind of existed there. But, you know, if we're setting the example for other people on how to resolve our problems, and you know, dad walks in with a black eye and a bloody nose,
Right.
and he tells his kid, "Oh yeah, this is the way we solve problems." Is he doing his kid a service? Do you think so?
not at all.
Come on.
There's a difference between. I mean, you stick up for yourself. I would always tell my
defend
kid
yourself.
you defend yourself. But as
Def-
far as
defend
like
yourself.
all of that drama, as far as with my kid's mom or this and that was unnecessary. And I mean, I don't want to say anything about Jeffrey too because I don't know his frame of mind the night that happened. I don't like to judge any side.
There's a lot of chatter on social media as far as the quality of individual that person is, but
Yeah.
it is what it is.
And I just want to be respectful to all their friends,
Yeah.
their family, their kids. Like I just, it's a sad situation all the way around, and it should have been
Absolutely.
handled differently. It should have never got to the point where they were meeting up for any reason, other than to talk about children. That should have been the only thing I could see them maybe meeting up for, is to talk about children.
You're out with your friends, you're partying up the new year, you're going to have a couple of drinks, you're going to
Mm-hmm.
do whatever you're going to do. I mean, the more that we argue and fight to be free people, to have freedom of speech, to have freedom of expression and all this and that, we keep on shooting ourselves. I mean, I hate to say the word,
Literally.
but we keep on, I'm not going to use that term. I would rather not use that term, but we keep on, pulling ourselves back a little bit. We keep on regressing sometimes when we do things like this, where we prove more and more and more that we're not responsible enough sometimes to handle the freedom
Right.
that we have. I'm not saying that we need to change that, because we should always be free people. We should always have freedom of expression, things like that. But I think that with the power of freedom is the power of responsibility as well. And it would help. It would help everybody if we could just be a little responsible with the power that we have.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
we wanted to kind of toss that out there because we're going to be seeing these examples from time to time, and they're always going to put us in perspective. People lost a friend last week, People lost a good person. I mean, hundreds of people showed up at his funeral. It's sad. It's just, what are you going to do, Again, it's not a gun issue. It's more about just handling your problems without being violent to each other.
I always say there's like 30 seconds in people's lives. There's times where I've done it. I'm not gonna lie. I've had arguments with people where I'm really like ready to blow off the wall.
Oh, yeah.
But like, ooh, that was way too loud.
Boom.
There you go.
Boom.
We're just practicing.
Yeah. Vicky's about to say something important, so I wanted to pick up.
Blast me up there. You made me forget
Bring
what
it
I
in.
was gonna say.
No, that's not true. You got it. You were talking about how we're not using violence.
Yes, yeah, I lost it. I got too.
Get out of here.
Yeah, see.
We're not using. We could resolve our problems without using violence. You know what I mean?
Be respectful. I keep going back to the whole
Right.
respect thing. But my face
Exactly.
got all red too because I forgot what I was saying.
Yeah.
I could feel it.
Well, the three people that are listening right now, you're embarrassed by them right now. Actually, I think we got 12.
That's awesome.
I wish somebody would just call in. By the way, the phone number is
774-357-2132.
That's 774-357-2132. Call in. Yeah, we're up to 12 viewers right now.
How can you tell?
Listeners. It says listener stats, and it's got current 12.
Nice.
And if I keep talking about it, we're going to go back down to 9 or 8. So I'll stop talking about that right now. So we're talking about like what we're expecting in the future as far as 2015 goes. But there's always going to be examples like what happened with Mr. Brady, that, puts us all in perspective, that gives us a different point of view as to maybe what we should be doing with ourselves in our lives, So I want to make sure that we are always able to keep a perspective of responsibility and just understanding that there's better ways to solve problems than just arguing. There's better ways to solve problems than fighting. You can just talk it out. Or not talk it out.
Oh, that's what I was saying, about 30 seconds.
See,
where
she
you're
remembered it.
where you're so upset about something and you just react. Instead of reacting, and people, when you're with your friends and you notice that your friends are acting like that, it'd be nice to reel them back in and say, hey, maybe you don't want to do that.
Absolutely.
Because, a lot of people were posting stuff about what Jeff Sousa had said previously before all of this, and apparently there were some things that were said about him being so angry and maybe going to confront the guy. But I noticed there were other posts that were kind of backing him up, saying, yeah, I'd be so mad, yeah, I would go do that. Let's not forget that. If somebody is not in their right frame of mind, or if they're upset about something, you don't want to be that person that's going to push them to do something that's going to get them in trouble. He doesn't have a life anymore either right now. I
hear you. I hear you. Word. I mean, you got to think about what you have to lose when you go through these kind of things. You have to think about this. Like, what do I have to gain out of this, and what do I have to lose out of this? I
feel so bad for the kids, all of them. How does that mother explain to her daughter what happened to her father? Or even the other ones, Dad's going to jail. Why is Dad going to jail? Well, it's just not easy.
So I'm gonna talk about, the next step. Where do we go from here? Because we joined up together, 11,000 people, because we wanted to make a change, and we transition it into the new year with a little bit of a tragedy, but also some good things are happening as well. And we want to, I don't know, I guess for me personally, it's like, I got involved because of the firefighters, really. I got involved because I saw firefighters getting laid off, and I was not happy about it. Then I did my homework, and then I learned about, and then I heard about. I'm getting text messages from somebody that I know she does not want me to say her name, so stop sending me text messages. but very, very distracting woman. But I wanted to make sure that we talk about not just the past but the future now. I mean, we're past Flanagan now, and it's good to reflect into, so that way we don't learn, so that way we don't make the same mistakes that he made. And I don't think Sutter's going to do that, which is important, because if he starts making those mistakes, guess what's going to happen?
We'll be there.
I'm sure we will.
That's the best part of this whole thing, is our city woke up. At least not everybody, but a big chunk of our city woke up. I'd like to see the crew, and that's what I'll call everybody now. I'll call them the crew. I'd like to see the crew get together and try to get more people to register to vote.
We got, what was it, 5,000 people registered to vote?
I'm not sure of the count.
No, it wasn't that big. It wasn't that big.
I think it was a couple of hundred, maybe like 200.
No, actually it was like 700 people.
Get out.
Yeah, that's
nice.
right. That's right. It was like 700 people, newly registered voters.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Just for this election.
And only 4 of them voted in the state election.
That's crazy.
But they all voted in the recall election.
I know a lot of people who didn't vote before, and they went, and I mean, they were registered voters. They just hadn't voted in a while, but they came out for that election.
Yeah.
Which was really nice.
Absolutely. So, in the future, right now, what do you want to see? And if anyone instead of text messaging me wants to make a phone call, it's 774-357-2132. Come on in, call, let us know what you think. But what do you want to see, Nikki?
I would like to see everybody come together and communicate with one another respectfully. Mm-hmm. Agree to disagree, not jump down somebody's throat when they don't think the same issue. Understand that everybody has got an opinion, everybody has a voice, and everybody should be heard. I agree 100% with that. I mean, it's not the first thing that I want to see, but honestly, if we did that, we'd probably see more positive results in with every discussion. I think if everybody got along better, crime would go down. I mean, if everybody's paying attention, everybody's eyes are open.
Absolutely.
When you in your own life and you're not paying attention, obviously even our politicians can go crazy and do things that are just out of the loop.
Sutter made his first his first real task